Happy October. It is the month of Halloween. So I thought I'd share 31 tips, 31 pieces of advice for if you're running Curse of Strahd. One tip for each day. So here's the first one. During Session 0, ask each player why a vampire lord of godlike ability and power would be interested in their character. Discuss specifically with them why Strahd is fascinated by their character. It is the book, after all, that says that Strahd finds the characters interesting. So why not let the players decide why Strahd finds them interesting?
Tip 2 for running Curse of Strahd. You know, there are 2 gates to Barovia. Start them on the west side, the part that spits them towards Kresk. You can always relocate the Death House if you're running the Death House, and more specifically, the first town that they run into is a town that they're actually not allowed into. They have to earn the right to get into that town, but if they do earn the right to get into that town, they actually have a semi-safe base of operations. Now, there are a couple parts that you do have to adjust, but hey, that's where you're the storyteller and why they're playing under your game, because you are here to make your game unique. Tip 3 for Curse of Strahd. When running the Death House, never refer to it as the Death House in front of your players. Refer to it as Durst Manor, both in and out of game. Also, the creature Anya. Make them a creature that can be interactable. Make them a potential recruitable, powerful ally. And have them be instrumental, if they're recruited that is, in vanquishing the evil for good in the Durst Manor. Because it will be up to your players at the end, whether or not to let Anya rest, or to keep Anya around to aid them further in future exploits in Curse of Strahd and Barovia. The more powerful of an ally she is, the harder that choice will be made. Because the right choice is to let the dead rest, to let them finally put their arms down. But if they're a very powerful ally, it's hard not to have powerful help if you can have it.
Tip 4 for running Curse of Strahd. Eventually, one of your players is going to bite it. What I mean by that is that they're going to taste a bit of death. And if the group decides to bring that character back, there should be additional consequences because they're in Curse of Strahd. They want the spooky. So with that being said, I asked this question. When they put back that character's soul back in that body, what also slips in? If they use a Revivify scroll, what curse or spirit was subtly attached to it? If they call for or beckon a great spirit or deity that is outside of Barovia and it pierces through the realm, what also slips in? What invader do they introduce to the area? What does the player who now has to share a body with something else inside them do?
This one's for players, so tip 5 for when you're playing in Curse of Strahd. Autumn, I heard your concerns, and I'm going to adjust accordingly since it is your month, after all. Autumn. So, with that being said, Curse of Strahd is a horror game. It's a horror story. In the horror movies, the characters that survive, what do they all generally have in common? They run. So, when you're playing and you're considering your options, always include on that list running. Curse of Strahd is not meant to be a murder hobo fest for you to run and bash through things until you hit a wall you can't bash through. It is designed for you to flee some of those encounters because those encounters are supposed to be threatening. They're supposed to be scary, like a horror story. So, when you're up against very, very intimidating odds, remember you can run. And also remember, you don't have to outrun the monster. You just have to outrun your fellow players.
Tip 6 for playing in Curse of Strahd. Don't zero threat the enemies. It is real easy to do because there's a lot of cinema where you have plucky protagonists that nonchalant their enemy. But the thing is that it's easy for you to do that because in real life, you're not in any real danger. But your characters are. And the reason why it's fun is because your character is in danger.
And it's not about playing a character that's brave. It's about the fact that the more you play up the threat of your enemy, the more badass it is when you defeat them. Or more specifically, the greater you are when the enemy defeats you. So, that's just a general helpful tip for anything, but especially in Curse of Strahd.
Tip 7 for running Curse of Strahd. Roughly every 5 levels, run a different game in Barovia. Everyone plays a different character, and this game should be focused more on being a slice of life episode of there's a monster that's threatening the village. You go, deal with it, and wrap up that story within 1 or 2 sessions, and then go back to the main game. Like I said, every 5 sessions, you come back to these characters just to do a slice of life episode. The reason why you do that is because now, if one of the characters dies, they have a full backup character that's more than just a set of numbers on a character sheet. They actually have a backup character that has a precedent for being a hero. Or, well, a major character.
Tip number 8 for Curse of Strahd. This one's for the storytellers. So, that is your spoiler warning. Get off. When I run the Abbot, I don't cover my eyes. I instead continually smile at them when I'm running the Abbot, because the Abbot isn't normal. This face is what I call the face of God. Now, you may choose to use the face of God for another character that you need to project a eerie vibe to. But here's the key trick to using the face of God. Look at their eyes while you're speaking with them, and then let your eyes wander to another part of them where you start to fixate and start thinking about all the things you can do. Also, this is how you do the face of God. Flex the eyebrows, flare out the nostrils, and practice. Practice as much as you can.
Tip number 9 for running Curse of Strahd. Let's take inspiration from another game called 10 Candles, but we're only going to use 5. Use electric teacup candles if you can. If you can only use real teacup candles, that's fine. Just make sure that you are very careful and keep them the main priority. Don't have them be your only source of light, just have them be your main source of light. So, this is for games that run for roughly about 4-hour sessions. In one of your sessions that runs for roughly about 4 hours, where you know Strahd's going to show up at the very end of it, light these candles. After the first hour, blow this one out. After the first hour and a half, and then the third hour, hour and 3 or half, and then when it's just the last 15 minutes left. Tips for running and playing Curse of Strahd. Make them regret having that ability. Make sure that they realize that that's not a blessing, but a curse and a responsibility. You see, they don't get to not know, not see what happens in the dark. They have to see and bear witness to what hungry, undulating, devouring, unhinged jaws and fangs and talons do to innocent flesh. And also, for players who have enhanced vision of darkness or double sight, carry torches, because you don't want to be the only one that's left alone to see and bear witness what happens in the dark.
Tip 11 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. Learn how to get a evil laugh down. How do you do a evil laugh? Easy. Be happy. Have happy thoughts. A evil, at least a good evil laugh, has a giggle. In order to be able to actually giggle, you need to have happy thoughts. Get your happy thought. Tip 12 for running Curse of Strahd or playing in Curse of Strahd. You know, I was sweeping my house the other day, and it made me think about witches. What are brooms and witches known for?
how likely are you able to outrun something that flies? And on an unrelated note, how similar are hags and witches? Not necessarily in authentic lore, but more specifically in WotC, Dungeons & Dragons, Curse of Strahd published lore. Maybe these are details your character should consider if they are looking to either sneak and hide, or flee, or fight. I just want to give you all the potential clues to help you make the best choice possible. Tip number lucky 13 for playing Curse of Strahd. That's right, this isn't for GMs or storytellers. This one's for players, because when the odds are stacked against you players, I will be on your side. And I've got something to suggest to you. When Strahd's personal messenger comes to you, or when you get the opportunity to send them a document, how about you send them an invitation? An invitation for dinner. That's right. Invite Strahd to dinner and make sure he knows that you sent it. Invite Strahd to dinner. Power move. Tip number 14 for running and playing in Curse of Strahd. So, we're at the final battle, Strahd versus the group. Rule 1, don't let Strahd face the group alone. Have it be Strahd and their minions facing the group. Next part, go after that pesky wizard. With your great movement and your legendary actions, get there and reduce that wizard to 0 HP as soon as you can. But don't stop there. Keep hitting them until they fail their last death save. From there, move on to the next squishiest spellcaster. And repeat this process until there are no spellcasters left that can counterspell you. After that, turn your magic onto the martial characters and enjoy your TPK. And players, this is the easiest, most efficient way to destroy your group. Don't you think Strahd will know this? What contingency plans do you have in place, or have you just been skating by on your GM's good graces? Tip number 15 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. So let's start with a random question. What happens when you take an invasive foreign species and put it in a new environment? The reason why is because I had a realization, an epiphany. You don't have to just play with one big dark evil force. Here's the thing, it is hard to escape the dark realm of Barovia, but it's really easy to pull things into that fog. How do you think Zariel would react to being pulled into Barovia with their penchant for wrath? You could totally tempt Lord Vecna with ancient dark magic in the place of amber. There's a lot of fertile ground for Xanathar to exploit a lot of desperation. You, as the players and the GM, could collaborate on an interesting story. Don't limit yourself to one large dark monster to enhance your game. Pull from everything. Ditch this and share all your tips for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. That's tip 16, is to literally go and ask other people about their perspectives. You could even get on TikTok and say, ditch this and share all your tips for running or playing in Curse of Strahd.
Have Strahd be active in the game. I know the campaign tells you to have him appear at certain times and be active, but when I say Strahd should be active, I mean have him appear way more than the module actually suggests. Have him sitting in the background taunting the players. Have him dressed as the old guy in the crowd and then obviously reveal himself as Strahd. The players will get more and more paranoid as Strahd keeps just showing up. And if you're like me and you like your villains to be extremely sarcastic, borrow a little bit of inspiration from Handsome Jack.
Tip 17 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. So, the vampire creature as well as the Strahd creature has a stat block, as you know, and on that stat block are a list of weaknesses and vulnerabilities. What I want you to do is take that list and put it on a separate document. Then I want you to better define what each of those weaknesses and vulnerabilities are, if you can. After which, I want you to think of scenarios in which how the players could exploit these weaknesses and such, and make judgment calls ahead of time, and record your results on this document. But you're not done, because you're going to take this document to every game you run while you're running this campaign, because your players are, of course, going to try and exploit these vulnerabilities more so, and each time when you make a judgment call, go ahead and write that down and record what the call was so you can compare for, future scenarios. That way you can run a more consistent game. Is the decanter of endless water a mundane magic item in your world, or is it a secret weapon? Tip 18 for playing or running Curse of Strahd. So, if you're playing a bard or a spell singer, I want to ask you a question. What is immortal? That's right. Stories, poems, epitaphs, songs, music. This is your inspiration to not just be proficient in performance, but in also history. Because you never know when you're going to run into an enemy who can be ancient, who lives forever, who might appreciate a performance that comes and was inspired by the period in which they were born in, or the period in which they became an adult. This is just a useful survival tip. Tip 19 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. Storytellers, I have a question for you. Is this the first time that adventurers and would-be heroes were captured by the fog of Barovia? That they have wandered into the mist in this valley? The reason why I ask this is because it is important for you, the storyteller, to know if the general public of Barovia is greeting the adventurers, or just simply acknowledging the next victims. And players, if you find out that there were other would-be challengers to Strahd's power, it is imperative that you ask precisely what did those challengers do and why they failed.
I need some help from my D&D community. I need you to sell me on Curse of Strahd.
Don't travel to the Dread Realms. Invade the Dread Realms. Give the title Dreadlord a run for its money. Tip 20 for running Curse of Strahd. Let's take inspiration from two games, Vampire the Masquerade and their stress mechanic, and Darkest Dungeon and their sanity mechanic. I want to take inspiration from those games to create what's called a panic penalty. Now, a panic penalty is only applied whenever you go into a dungeon or a dungeon-like scenario. A panic penalty is a negative modifier that is applied to any wisdom roll that isn't a wisdom-based attack and is also in no way applied to the passive perception. The panic penalty starts at 0, but increases based off the number of things that happen over the course of a dungeon. Each PC has their own panic penalty that is unique to them because each experience is your own. So, your panic penalty increases whenever you roll a nat 1 on a saving throw or you fail a saving throw. Even if you succeed a saving throw, if you roll a nat 1 on a saving throw, you know you could have done better, so your panic penalty increases. Also, if you were to drop below 50% your max health the first time after being at max health, your panic penalty increases. If an enemy scores a critical hit on you, your panic penalty increases. And lastly, if you or any of your allies falls unconscious due to being reduced to 0 HP, your panic penalty increases. If you score a critical hit on an enemy and it deals damage, your panic penalty decreases. A panic penalty's value can never be higher than 0 or lower than -6. If something were to drop it lower or raise it higher, just ignore it. Now, if your players do the sensible thing and flee the dungeon before it's unfinished, that's okay because their characters will remember it. When they return to the dungeon, if they return, the panic penalty doesn't start at 0, it starts at 1. And if they flee again and come back before it's finished, it starts at 2, and so on and so forth. This cultivates the horrifying reputation of the dungeon. And we all know how effective a horrifying reputation can be. Tip 21 for playing or running in Curse of Strahd. You know, Strahd certainly has a obsession with the characters. You know who also might have an obsession with the characters? My Strahd's previous obsessions, his consorts, the vampire spawn. Especially those that were and are his brides currently. I wonder, do you think any of them are the jealous type? Perhaps for the player's benefit, do you think any of them are the vengeful type? And players, I want you to remember something. Every sentient creature of the night, those vampires spawn, they're not just enemies to slay. They're critical, pivoting potential. And also, there are vessels of key information. Just keep that in mind, will you? Tip 22 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. Was that your card? I must have flicked it too hard. How about that one? One of the things that makes props so fun is being able to touch them. So I highly recommend that if you decide to bring props to the table, make sure that they're props that you're comfortable with everyone touching. With that being said, I highly recommend that you get a Taroka deck, or you bring a set of physical playing cards when you do your Taroka reading. Now, here are a few ways to get your players involved. One of the things that you can do is you can have one of the players shuffle the deck. And then, after when they shuffle the deck, you can then literally offer the deck for everybody to draw a card but not look at it. While you're running your reading, you can then ask for one of them to donate a card to reveal. Or another thing you can do for more veteran players is that when they draw a card, have them stick it immediately to their forehead so they don't know what they drew, but everyone else does, making who donates a card a little bit more interesting. Tip 23 for running Curse of Strahd. Tip 24 for running Curse of Strahd. Here are some ways to make zombies scary. So, zombies need to be familiar. At least one of your players needs to recognize one of the zombies and have known them when they were alive. This reminds the players that you too can become a zombie if you wish. Also, zombies have friends. When you run zombies, prepare to run zombies in hordes. And another important thing to remember, if you want to make zombies scary, don't have them be the monster of the week. Don't just randomly spawn them and make zombies rare. The occurrence of a zombie should be rare because they don't normally naturally occur in nature. So, the fastest way to shine off the horror of a monster is to have them come up common. If you make zombies rare, then even just the appearance of one zombie is cause for concern and unease. And a roving horde, it brings the question of how we're going to deal with this and who caused this. Tip 25 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd is a two-parter. And this is part 1. I want you to prioritize kids. I want you to look out for them. If a kid is being attacked or is under threat from a monster, I want you to drop what you're doing and try and rescue them. If a kid goes missing, I want you to pause whatever mission you are on and go look for them. And yes, sometimes the kid's not really a kid. Sometimes the kid's a trap, and when you go look for that missing kid, sometimes it's too late. Don't begrudge your storyteller too much because your storyteller has to follow a script sometimes. But I will say this, you will sleep better knowing you did everything you could to try and find that kid. Because in Barovia, kids don't remain kids for very long. Tip 25 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. This is part 2 for tip 25 for running or playing Curse of Strahd, and this involves spoilers, so I'll give you a countdown so you can either pause the video or scroll to the next one. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have been warned. So, the first town, hamlet, village, what have you, that the players come across, they're going to encounter a child, a young teenager, and this child is going to be a delight to be around and a legitimate help. Maybe they give them important information about the lay of the land. Maybe the kid runs off to go get help when the players are in danger. And then the next day, the kid is missing. You see, the parent of the child is in town
asking, begging for information about the whereabouts of has anyone seen their beloved child. Now, it is up to you, storyteller, if you want there to be no chance of finding said kid. But if there is a chance, they do run into a group of bandits if they seek out and succeed in tracking down the kid. And the group of bandits has a bandit leader who is the BBEG. And they're a BBEG because secretly they are a werewolf who hired the other bandits to help grab and kidnap children. Now, if it's not possible, or if they don't immediately try and locate the kid, because kidnapping is time sensitive, and this event is also likewise time sensitive. If a single day goes by, it's too late. But they will see the kid again when they investigate the werewolf den, as the kid is now a werewolf and is a fanatical supporter of the werewolf den. It is not possible to reach the kid anymore at this point. The psychological damage that has been done to this kid is too deep. Even if you remove the curse, the kid will not be the same because that kid died a long time ago. Because, as I said in the last video, kids don't remain kids for very long in Barovia. Tip 26 for running Curse of Strahd. So if you want your game to be a little bit more spicier, how about taking inspiration from 2nd edition? Whenever a character fails a fear saving throw or falls under the fear effect, have them roll on the horror table. The horror table has 6 potential results. On a 1, they suffer from aversion. The character can't stand to be near it. If they get too close to said target, they fall under the normal fear effect rules, but otherwise they can be roughly okay. On a 2, the character suffers revulsion. The character can't tolerate the subject, can't talk about it. They absolutely have to leave the area to avoid it. 3, things get a little bit more spicier. Obsession. The character can't stop thinking about it. The character can't stop talking about it. The character can't sleep. The character can't rest. The character does not gain any of the benefits of long rest. No HP, no spell slots, none of that. They can resave after a week. 4 is senseless rage. The character relentlessly attacks the subject in any way that they are able. It does not matter if they're actually able to do damage. They just attack it. So, for example, if a ghost did this effect, then the character will continue to attack the ghost even if they don't have a means of harming the ghost. 5 is mental shock. The character is stunned for 1d4 rounds. However, if you don't like having stuns, or if you think this effect is too harsh, you could just have it be that all targets that attack the subject, attack the person who failed the fear effect and is suffering the fear, have advantage against them. And then 6 is still to suffer under the normal fear condition. Tip 27 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. So we all know that merchants enjoy gold. It does not matter where the gold comes from. It can be from a different planet, a different country. It does not matter what stamp is on the copper nugget. So long as it's metal, it has value. But if you want your merchant, the one that sells the rare item, sells the powerful item, the one that sells the magical item, to stick out, don't have them ask for a price tag that has a numerical metal value, but instead something that's more unique, like have them ask for a mummy's hand. If the players want those 100 healing potions in bulk, a pair of demon horns will do. And if they really want the ring of protection, they will go out and hunt for a pair of vampiric fangs. Happy hunting. Tip 28 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. So, while you are in the Ravenloft setting, chances are that your heroes are
are in Barovia or in one of the other Dread Realms, that means that they're most likely stuck there. But that does not mean that treasures from other adventures and mythological lores can't find them way there. Perhaps the adventurers of Horde of the Dragon Queen were successful in that adventure, and then were captured by Barovia and its fog, and they fell to Lord Strahd. And in Strahd's trophy room is the sword Hazaron. Or maybe the demon prince Orcus thought the next best place to see his wand would be in the Amber Temple. Just because your players are stuck in this land does not mean that you can't pull from other treasures and put them into your story. Tip 29 for running or playing in Curse of Strahd. Before we get to the very end of this month, let's go back and go over a tip that can be used in the very beginning. Going back to basics, if you will. When you are getting your group together, get them all on the same page. Make sure that their goals align. Because you see, a person who wishes to explore the castle, to investigate the dark plots of creatures that go bump in the night, to investigate their puzzles, is not going to play very well with someone who wishes to explore the dark ancient dungeons, to find those creatures that bump in the night, to bump back. Make sure everyone's on the same page to get their goals aligned. Tip 30 for running or playing Curse of Strahd. So, towards the end of the campaign, offer your players a devil's bargain. Essentially that the mists of Barovia will open up and they are free to leave this cursed land carrying as much treasure as they are physically able to. The one caveat, they must do so right now. No saying goodbye to anybody, no doing one last thing, they leave immediately. What about Barovia do you think will keep the players here? What evil deed was an evil deed too far that Strahd did that demands that the players stay here and deal with that rather than leave to their heart's desire? And for those that do take this deal, describe how the mists do separate and they walk through, only for the mists to fall back in on them and leave whether or not they made it ambiguous. And for those that make counter deals that are accepted, make sure you read the bottom line, because this functionally mechanically ends your character. No takebacks. Tip 31 for playing Curse of Strahd or running Curse of Strahd. Thank you for making it to the end with me. So, your final tip. You've seen it this entire time. I've been displaying it to you through this entire series. Dress up. Even if it's just a special shirt. It doesn't have to be a full costume. Full costume is great. But a special hat, a set of glasses, a vest, or, a particular shirt. Dress for the occasion. And encourage your players to do so as well. If your players wear costumes and such, that helps build the immersion. So that's actually worth giving incentives. Like the first half dozen rolls you get to add a 1d6 to the roll. If you think that's too much, 1d6 divided by 2. Minimum of 1. But anything you can do to bring the magic to the table, every small bit of effort helps. And speaking of small efforts and such, Barovia is not kind to adventurers and heroes, and many fall. This candle here is for those. We remember those stories that end in tragedy, and we hope to inspire those stories that end in triumph. Thank you for watching this series with me. I leave this candle in memory of you. This one I have to take because I don't have dark vision.